Hi, everyone. My name is Mai-Linh Hong. I'm a poet and literary scholar living in the Central Valley of California. I am taking part in this virtual vigil with Trio House Press, which is based in Minneapolis, in order to show some support for the people of Minnesota and the people of the Twin Cities. Trio House Press has been a really wonderfully supportive literary community. They've given a home to my work, which will be coming out with them later this year. I'd like to encourage you, if you, like me, have been watching the news from Minnesota with some mixture of just horror and awe, to see the atrocity that's occurring there, but also the courage and determination, really looking up to the people of Minnesota in this moment. I'd like to encourage you, if you can, to do something to support them. If you have the means, consider going to standwithminnesota.com for a list of many of the nonprofits and mutual aid organizations that are supporting the resistance, as well as helping to protect people who are currently hiding from ICE, and all of the community organizations that are keeping them fed and well and housed and so on. Another good place to go would be aclu-mn.org to support the legal work and advocacy work that's going on to support the civil rights of all of us, really. So I am going to read a poem called 50 Years Later. This poem was originally written as I was thinking about the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. My family came to the United States as Vietnamese refugees. I was born there and we left when I was a baby. And the 50th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War was almost a year ago, last April. So this poem is called 50 Years Later. And it's also about how that legacy of growing up in a refugee family, like so many refugees in the US, many of our immigrants are actually refugees looking for safety, how that legacy shapes my own politics and my ethics. 50 years later, like a good American, I buy donuts from Cambodians on a winter-nipped fall morning that tripped our gardens and us into hibernatory torpor, craving the grift of yeast, sugar, lard to round our bellies soft with insulation. I hand over a 10 and say, I know where did the fall go? To the woman who twinkles like my mother, who gives me coffee and French crullers with change. It has been almost 50 years since we lost one war, years before I was born in the city that fell. But I remember because we lost another every year since. Sometimes the fall is a hushed festival. Ngai muk nuk, the living miming loss in the dark. Sometimes ghosts wail us awake, and we have no choice but to buckle them crying into cars and drive them to work. Like each time, NPR reminds us Kissinger is alive, until finally, thank God, one year he isn't, because men who break us never die. But neither do we. Each time a nook shatters, its shards come to life as refugees who look like us, but not, hoping in boats like ours, but not, until our remaining islands, where our remaining people live, those we lose when we leave, shrank so gnaw and distant, we could no longer call ourselves archipelago. And oceans rising make of us whirlpools instead, each braving her own centripetal memory. This woman and I, we know each other, but not by name. The English name on her donut shop is a mask she dons, not unlike my own pied masks. We never finish making refuge. The years, this town, another valley, the hermit crab who hides a new shell it found for later, like the manuscript I tucked beneath floorboards for some future reader in some future almost free, almost democracy, while our nation bends to men who want and take, who banish ghosts because they know they'd never survive ghosts like ours. To survive is to refuse death, but how to tell refusal from retreat? Each day I wake and carve myself a place in rock, build shade against the sun's rage, and savor silence in the clamoring world's stead. Do you write your vengeful ghosts poems, giving them shelter? Do you relinquish them the way one buries a dog in one picturesque plot from which one walks away hopeful that this busted lamp of a country can grant us one more wish before we die? What does one do with ghosts who follow? Make refuge, make refuge, make refuge, make refuge, make refuge, make refuge. See how it dismantles. I find it useful to cry before a party, before I descend the stair, almost ready, not quite, for what the world destroys tonight. And this is how I steal for each new year, each war, each loss, each bomb, each fall, each almost freedom, for losing refuge over and over, but most of all, for its revival, my refusal, my next great growling no. Thank you.